welcome to Place. As you've seen, we've just left Falmouth, got the ferry from Falmouth to St Mawes, and then St Mawes to Place. This is a very different video to the one I should have been making today. Today is the 10th of September, and today should have been the day that I was walking the Jurassic Coast Mighty Hike. But unfortunately, late on Thursday, I had an email through from Macmillan saying, due to the events of the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, unfortunately they were going to cancel the Mighty Hike as a mark of respect. So really disappointed when I got that email through. Obviously I've been training quite hard, walking the coast, which I would have done anyway, but I have used that as my training. I've been fundraising all year, and a lot of you have very kindly supported me with my fundraising for that event. So I was really disappointed. Now, I haven't had a lot of information yet from Macmillan, but what they have said is that I can defer my place into next year's walk, which is what I will certainly do. And rest assured, all the money that I've raised so far has already gone to Macmillan, so that money is safe and is with them, and will be benefiting the people that need it. But yeah, I will defer my place to the walk for next year. So I feel guilty and a little bit embarrassed, even though it was totally out of my control. So anyway, that's enough of that. I was fairly miserable and a bit depressed when I got that email through, but to cheer myself up, I decided to have a couple of days away, or 3 days away in fact, back on the coast. So today is Falmouth to Portloe, and then tomorrow we'll be walking on to Pentuan, and then on the third day we will be walking from Pentuan to Par. So you've already seen me this morning catch the ferry from Falmouth there in the mid-screen, and then the ferry from Falmouth comes over here to St Mawes. Then we change ferries and get another boat from St Mawes over this way to a place called Place.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by, it doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again?
Morning. That's funny actually, that reminds me, on the drive down to Falmouth this morning I was listening to a podcast. It's a podcast that I saw posted on the Southwest Coast Path Facebook group, and it's called Keeping the Sea on the Right, and it's a lady walking the coast path and just made a podcast about her journey. So I'm only up to I think I just finished day 2. But in it, she says that she's found herself talking to trees and rocks and animals. And she's only on day 2, so God knows what she'll be up to when she gets a bit further on. But anyway, it's true, and I resonated with that statement that she made. When you're walking alone, you do find yourself sometimes talking to yourself or animals. I often say good morning to cattle and horses and birds, and obviously I've got you to talk to, so that helps with my thought process and my loneliness on the walk. You don't ever really feel alone really when you're surrounded by everything that's on the coast path. this is Killygarin Head, and on this rock here, it's a family of seals, and they're calling to each other. Well, I presume they're calling. I don't know what they're saying, but it's very audible. I've tried to zoom in a bit on my phone and pick some of it up. So yeah, hopefully that comes out all right. But there must be 7 of them down there on that rock. Now, I'm feeling a little bit up against it today. Obviously I had to drive down this morning to Falmouth, and then the 2 ferries before I started my walk. So I don't really think I actually started walking until, I think it was 11 o'clock. And then once you start walking, the guidebook says that it's, I think, 6 hours, 6.5 hour walk to Portloe. And as this was a bit of a last minute trip away, I haven't actually got anywhere to camp this evening. I did have a look last night online and struggled to find anywhere around Portloe. I think there is a campsite maybe 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles inland, but I think from Portloe up to the campsite it's quite uphill. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I really fancy that, but anyway, I think options are limited, so unless I find anything else, I've got the choice between that climb up the hill or a wild camp. So I think when I get to Portloe in a minute, I will stop for lunch and have a look online and maybe phone up a campsite and yeah, see what the situation is.
For better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold.
So this is Pendower Beach. Just stopped and had a sandwich for some lunch. Bit of an eventful little pit stop. As I was walking down into Pendower, you have to walk through well, it wasn't really a car park, it was more like some parking spaces on the side of the road. And I was walking behind a car, you know, that's where the footpath goes. And just as I was behind a car, it started reversing out. So I just sort of pulled out and to let them know I was there. And then a few of her family who were standing around the car became a little bit aggressive. And then when I looked back at them, you know, just to sort of, you know, see what it was they were saying, they yeah, carried on being a bit aggressive. So anyway, never mind. First time something like that's happened. All's fine now. Got a headland in front of me now. Looks like a bit of a climb to get up and around. But when we get at the top there, we might have our first view looking towards Portloe.
I was on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless it seemed. We found holes in these walls, we like what we saw. seems so strong until it falls, the final straw. Oh, I never felt like this before. Oh, when I was trapped, you showed an open door.
That was the hardest climb of the day, pretty much the only climb really. That was Nair's Head. Oh, yeah, that was hard. Just gonna go over the brow of the hill in front of me and fingers crossed we'll have a view of Portloe. Right, forget what I said. There's no dramatic view of Portloe. I came over that little crest of a hill that I was talking about just after Nair Head, expecting for the view to open up in front of me, and well, yeah, there's no view. So I got the guidebook out and had a look in there, and it sounds as though you don't actually see Portloe until you're pretty much there, actually. So yeah, we're not far away now. Wow, I haven't done much filming the last couple of hours. That second half of that walk was pretty brutal. Possibly because it's later in the day than I would normally be out walking, and I was maybe panicking a little bit about where I was staying tonight. But yeah, the campsite closes at 6, so it's 5:45 now. So yeah, I'm cutting it a bit close. Anyway, I've just phoned the campsite. They're about a 35-minute walk from Portloe, and it's all uphill. So anyway, I did ask if I could book and check in and pay over the phone, and then if they are closed when I get there, it doesn't really matter because I've already paid. But the guy, amazingly, he has just offered to come and pick me up. So I'm stood here now in Portloe waiting for him to come and get me. He said it's quicker than walking and a lot cheaper than a taxi. So yeah, that's really good. That's a Varian campsite. But in Portloe, there's no camping. I think there's a hotel restaurant down there by the water. And there's no shops, so there's no food, no tea for me tonight. I think I've got like a snack bar or something, but that's fine. Once I get into bed, I think I'll be asleep quite quick. But anyway, yeah, I'll show you around when we get up to the campsite. Right, made it up to the campsite. So nice of them to come and pick me up. They have got a limited shop here, but the stock's a bit low at the minute, coming towards the end of the season. So my tea tonight consists of a box of dry Cheerios, packet of crisp and a Kit Kat and a can of Tango. So yeah, certainly quite early tomorrow. I think my priority will be to find somewhere to have a proper breakfast and get myself fueled up for tomorrow's walk, where we will be walking, well, to start with, back down to Portloe, because it's a good 30-40 minutes to back down to the village, and then on to Pentuan Sands. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the morning.